Hey, welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. This one is kind of a sad video to do. If you've been following along on the channel, you know that I've been trying really hard to get my 1968 Pontiac LeMans ready to go for the Hot Rod Power Tour, which I believe is in like 25 days from this video. And a problem has come up that I think is going to keep me from taking this car on the power tour. So I guess let's get to it. So what's the issue? I just recently put out a video where I was driving the car and the engine was making a weird noise, and no, it's actually not a mechanical problem. It's something much more of a pain in the you-know-what. It's legal. It's a legal issue. All right, here's my story. If you haven't seen all my videos and all that, you might not know what's going on behind this. Bought this car back in 1996. I drove it for about 4 years, and I thought I blew a head gasket. I overheated it one day on a trip from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. And when the car overheated, I thought, uh-oh, could have caused some damage. A month or so later, I'm driving the car and white smoke is billowing out. I thought I blew a head gasket, right? So what I did was I parked the car in my garage when I was living in Los Angeles. And didn't drive it again for a long time. In fact, until just recently. Because I thought I'm gonna have to take the heads off. If I take the heads off, maybe I'll replace the heads, but back then Edelbrock heads were $2,200 for the pair. So I said, I'm not gonna be able to raise that money. I'm 27, 28-year-old kid, and I got a kid on the way and all that stuff. I was gonna get married actually at that time, and then soon would have kids on the way, and it just kept sitting for all those years, right? So long story short, the car did not get registered again from the year 2000 on. The last time it was registered in California was in 99 to 2000. So this was the last time it was on the road legally. And that's 25 years ago. And like an idiot, I did not keep the car registered. I figured, well, I've got the title, no big deal. And eventually in 2008, I moved from California back to Ohio, where I was originally from, to raise my kids and send them off to really good schools and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I didn't have the car in, driving condition where I could take it over and have the VIN checked out and the car inspected and all that. And because you have to be able to drive it over there, and I couldn't do that. Until recently, I started working on the car, started the YouTube channel, started the whole process. And I started just recently, and I know this is my fault for waiting so long, but I just started recently to look for my title. And I cannot find it. I cannot find the title for my, you-know-what, curse word car. And so I figured, okay, here's the thing. What I can do is reach back out to California, right? Check with them and say at the DMV there and say, hey, I lost my title. Can you send me a duplicate? What do you think their answer was? So California, out of the goodness of their hearts, because they have to deal with millions and millions of cars, they only keep records for 4 years. 4 years. Well, needless to say, it's been 25 years. And so guess what? I cannot get a duplicate title. And without a title, it's kind of hard to get a car registered, wouldn't get a license plate, and have a cop seeing you head down the road with an old license plate from 25 years ago, the last time it was registered. That's going to get you pulled over in a heartbeat. And I'm going to be traveling on the Hot Rod Power Tour about 1,500 miles. And what are the odds I'm not going to run into a cop somewhere along that tour? Not very good. So, what can I do? Have I been looking for the title? Absolutely. But one thing I will tell you is that I don't think my wife, and this is not to blame her at all, but I don't think my wife in the entire history of her whole life has ever thrown away a piece of paper. Which means I've been going through, and this is after we moved from California to Ohio. I knew I had the title with me here in Ohio at some point, so I know it exists in this house somewhere. But I have looked everywhere, box after box after box of stuff we'd packed up, through current stacks of paper, through anything you can think of. I've been searching in places it shouldn't be. I've been looking everywhere. But while I'm doing that, I've also started the process of getting a title here in Ohio, which is a 9-step process. First thing I did was I went to the clerk of courts and filed the petition to say, yes, I want to get a title hopefully issued to me. And they have a process which is what is it called? A court-ordered title, which is where I say, look, here's my car. There are no reports of it being stolen. There are no liens against it, no financial obligations. It's mine. Nobody has asked for it or made a claim on it, which I've owned the car for 35 years. I don't think there are any claims on it, or 30 years. I don't think there are any claims on it, right? So I'm going through that process as well. And I've got the material that they gave me, and I got the letter that California sent me that says, hey, use this to take it to your DMV office and say, we no longer have this. So this can be the excuse to say it no longer exists. I've been looking through paper. The one thing I cannot find one registration card. Not one. I have a registration card for a 1984 Honda Prelude that I had 40 years ago. I've got a 1992 Pontiac Trans Am that I no longer have this car for. I've got this one. I've got so many different things, but I do have receipts from insurance, that I had insurance on the car with the matching VIN and the license plate. I've got my the DMV smog test only center letters. I've got a bunch of stuff. I even have receipts on my transmission that I bought, the Turbo 350 that's in here. I have the receipt from the transmission company that put it in. I've got my battery that I purchased. I've got just about everything you can think of to show that it's my car, but I still have to go through all of the steps to prove this, and I don't know how long this is going to take. This could take months. So yeah, that's where my heart is broken. One of the things I actually found interesting was I had a Holley carburetor, and the Edelbrock intake, the aluminum intake, is still on here. I found my receipt from a place called the Super Shops in Van Nuys, California. Guess how much that Edelbrock was? It was $159, and the Holley carb, it was an 80457 carb, 600 CFM. It was $199.99. Those prices, those were the days. But anyway, I've got to go through this process, and hopefully in the next 26 days, at some point they may say, that's enough, you've shown us that you've owned the car, and they'll let me get a title, get an Ohio title, get it registered, and get tagged so I can take it on the tour. If not, I may have to go to Plan B, and Plan B is my 1985 C10 pickup that I took last year, but that's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I'm still looking for the original title. If I find that, I'm going to update you and let you know that it's found and that I've started the process to get it registered and all that stuff. But I do have a backup plan. The truck did a magnificent job on the last power tour, but I was hoping to be able to take the car, maybe park it at the Painless booth during the tour and show off the car and meet some people who've all commented on the videos that I've done on helping them do their rewiring project. Honestly, those videos that I've done on rewiring have been the most fulfilling thing for me, because I've seen so many people in comments say, thank you so much for doing these videos. Thank you so much for showing how a person who doesn't know how to do this gets it done. And that's why I love making these YouTube videos. But anyway, I've got the truck, and that's an option. Do I want to take this truck again? It's not going to be as fun. I'll do it though. But it means I can still go on the power tour. I've already paid for it. I even have a couple of hotels that I can't cancel. So yeah, it's definitely doable, but it's just not going to be as exciting for me, and maybe even for those viewing out there, but we'll see. So I'm to blame because I didn't start this process maybe back in January when I was really going strong on the car. I just thought the title would be there. I assumed it. I'd seen it multiple times there, and so yeah, this is totally my fault. Absolutely nothing but my fault. And I should have started sooner. I know that now. But anyway, it's like I said, it's just soul crushing. So I'm hoping that if you guys have any good vibes out there, the whole thoughts and prayers thing, if you could send any of that my way, I'd appreciate it. I am still going to look I've stopped completely doing anything on this car. I've been doing nothing but digging through box after box after box after box, and milk crate and basket and whatever you can think of. I've been looking for this title. So good vibes my way. I would appreciate it. So hopefully I can still take this car on the power tour. I'm not going to stop with the car. I mean, it's still going to be, I'll still be able to get the title at some point. And I can hopefully take it to the Good Guys show in July, to the Pontiac Nationals, which I think is in August. Heck, I might even try to do the duct tape drags. Since I couldn't take it on the power tour, maybe I can take it all the way across the country, because one of my bucket lists for this car is Route 66. At some point on the channel, I will take this car down Route 66. Knock on wood, that happens. But thank you very much for tuning in. I just kind of wanted to give you an update. I still have some more videos to come on the work that I've kind of gotten ahead on. I still have to figure out the wiring issue that's coming up. That video's coming up, and a couple of more. But I just kind of wanted to fill you in because I didn't want to get it too close to the date of the power tour and then all of a sudden be like, nope, not going to happen. So I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. So thanks very much for tuning in. I'll catch you next time, and I'll give you an update if anything hopefully changes. Like I said, please send those good vibes.